All right, let's get this party started. Time to get time to rock and roll. Get rolling here. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Tyler, and welcome back to Scorpio Oxman Channel. As I say, as I always say. And of course, if you're a big movie fan, I'm sure you'll remember this one, whether it's before your time, after your time. And it's one movie that certainly never gets old and never will. One of the all-time greatest classics, all time, easily. And if you were to rank monster movies, quote unquote, this one would be at number one easily in terms of monster movies. Easily, easily, hands down. Steven Spielberg's finest, probably finest. Um, Jaws from 1975. Uh, Peter Benchley is the author of the original novel. Steven Spielberg officially put it on the map by directing the movie. Um, Mr. Benchley, of course, is he's really the foundation of the story and the picture, the whole picture, of course. And Spielberg, of course, he gets everything on the map, always did. So no question about it, and definitely needs no introduction. And I'm reading what I'm reading is that it was on June the 20th that the movie was released in 1975. And this is why I'm doing the video today. Um, I'm not saying it matters, but it's like, that's if it is exactly on this day of when the movie was released. Okay. So that's just the date if you go by the dates, of course. Um, so yeah, it's just there's just so many memories of it. And again, it's one of those movies that it doesn't get old, Academy Award winner. It did spawn sequels. Of course, Steven Spielberg only directed the first one, and the only one that, yeah, of course, the original of every movie series is usually always the best. And of course, this one, yeah, undeniable. And I was going to mention too I want to mention briefly too, before we get started, about the species of Carcharodon carcharias. Okay. Just to mention briefly, like in the world of science, in the world of species in the animal kingdom, the Carcharodon carcharias, that is the scientific name of the great white shark, in case you weren't familiar with scientific names of species in the animal kingdom. Um, but the that name, the scientific name of the great white shark, Carcharodon carcharias, that is actually mentioned in the movie, which is respectful of the species, of course, I think, in my opinion, and in most scientists' opinion too. Mentioned by uh, Roy Scheider. Roy Scheider is the star of the movie. He's really the main star of the movie, as Chief Brody. However, I was just going to mention that Richard Dreyfuss, the actor Richard Dreyfuss, he's the one who mentioned the scientific name in the movie, because he's the scientist in the movie, Richard Dreyfuss, and he's the one who mentioned Carcharodon carcharias, in the movie. He's the first one to mention it in the movie though. So that's I thought that was interesting, of course. And it's actually in recent times that I've been getting to know and become more familiar with the scientific names of species in the animal kingdom. And but I also want to briefly mention something, and I know this may not be relevant to the topic so much, and not really not really related to astrology. I did want to mention, however, that a lot of people would think that the great white shark may would be the scariest of all the shark species. And I don't want to put out there that anybody that any of them are scary, really. And I know, but of course, um, a lot of people do have a fear of them, of course, as we know. But I I wanted to mention that I thought that a lot of people would think that the Carcharodon carcharias would be the scariest one of all of them. Now, my own opinion, I actually don't believe that. I believe that there's another species I believe is scarier, and that one is I believe you pronounce the scientific name of Galeocerdocuviae. Galeocerdocuviae, if I'm not mistaken of the pronunciation, that is the scientific name of the tiger shark. Now, the tiger shark. Now that one I think is with in real life, I think they're like just as big as a great white. But it's like that species is scarier to me. There's things about that species that come across as scarier to me. So, but that's just my opinion, though. Of course, people would think, oh, the great white, I think, is primarily larger usually than the tiger shark. And of course, you could be the judge. You could be the judge of them, of which one you think would be like the scarier one if you want to put them in the category of scary, which I don't believe they deserve that reputation in real life because we definitely want to support helping to save all the endangered species in our animal kingdom and our because they all play a very crucial role in our ecosystems and so on to help us. So we definitely want to have the best respect for all animals of the animal kingdom because we exist to take care of them. Okay, we do exist to take care of them, and I just wanted to put that out there to remind all of you that we're here to take care of all the animals of our home here on our planet, and we definitely want to love them. Just like we should love one another as humans, and to be humane to help out those especially the endangered species of those in need as well, of course, and again, not painting a bad, I definitely don't want to paint a bad picture of any of the animals in the animal kingdom, though. But I just wanted to mention that of something of my opinion, in terms of talking about different species of sharks or any animals in the animal kingdom, and that just giving my opinion. And so I'm going to start off. So just a reminder about primal astrology is what we discuss about in in my videos, in most of my videos, of course. So real life the primal astrology spirit animals. So I'm just going to go over so these are the stars of the movie. The main star, Roy Scheider, who plays Chief Brody. Richard Dreyfuss is the scientist in the movie, and he plays Mr. Hooper, who's the scientist. Now, I'm showing you the spirit animal, and there's Robert Shaw. Now, okay, just a reminder about Robert Shaw, who plays Captain Quinn in Jaws. Uh, the the picture of him on the left, that's him from the movie Russia with Love with Sean Connery, starring alongside Sean Connery in the second James Bond 007 movie starring Sean Connery. He was with Sean Connery in From Russia with Love, and that's the picture on the left of him. That's from 1963, if I'm not mistaken. From Russia with Love is from 1963, and there he is in Jaws, 1975, on the right. Him as Captain Quinn on the right picture of him. So just letting you know of that picture that I selected to post on here or paste on here. And okay, so those are the spirit animals of them right there. So I'm going to leave the link for all these spirit animals below for you guys to read about. Okay. So Roy Scheider in real life, we could go ahead and call him Chief Brody. Roy Scheider in real life, he is born on day of the zebra. So therefore he is spirit of the zebra. Okay. And Richard Dreyfuss in real life, this is real life, as I mentioned, the real life primal astrology spirit animal. So Richard Dreyfuss, he's born on day of the praying mantis in primal astrology. Therefore, Richard Dreyfuss in real life, he is spirit of the praying mantis. Okay, and recently I did a video on about John Jones, the UFC fighter, and I mentioned that him and Kobe Bryant, they're the same spirit animal, who is spirit of the praying mantis. So in recent video, I did one talking a little bit about the praying mantis, spirit people. So uh, now getting to Robert Shaw, who plays Captain Quint. Now I see his birth date. I got his birth date, but because so I'll put it this way. Robert Shaw, he's born August the 9th, 1927 in the UK, in the United Kingdom. Um, so because the moon had changed on the day that he's born, and there's no information out there about the time of day that Robert Shaw, the actor, was born. Because of that, and I see that his moon, if he was born early in the day, his moon sign would be Ophiuchus. Later in the day, it moved over to the moon crossed over to Sagittarius. Because of that, that would have meant that he would have been a different spirit animal if he was born early in the day. And late in the day, he would have been different. So this is why I'm not sure if he was a spirit of the squid or the camel. Because if Robert Shaw's moon was, if his moon was Ophiuchus, he would have been spirit of the squid. Okay. If his moon was Sagittarius, which was later in the day, because the moon crossed over on the same day that he was born, he would have been spirit of the camel. So I'm just mentioning that, and that's why I have this down here that he's either squid or camel. With going back to Roy Scheider and Richard Dreyfuss, I know for a fact that Roy Scheider's moon is Pisces, and because of that, I know that he's spirit of the zebra because of that. And Richard Dreyfuss, I know for a fact his time of day is known, and the info of his time of day and location of where he's born, in Brooklyn, New York, Richard Dreyfuss. So his moon is Aries. Okay, so Richard Dreyfuss has an Aries moon. Because of that, I know for a fact that he's spirit of praying mantis. And Roy Scheider, I know that his absolute fact that is Pisces. But the day that Robert Shaw was born, the moon sign changed on his day. So that's why. But if I had his exact time, then I would know whether he's squid or camel. Would it be ironic? It probably would make most sense if he was spirit of squid because that's a sea creature. In this movie, his biggest movie, it's obviously about the sea, right? The North Atlantic Ocean. So maybe, and this is a way you could tell. Like it's like if Robert Shaw, you think about Robert Shaw, you definitely think about Captain Quint from Jaws, and it's all about the North Atlantic, the sea, the ocean. So him being Spirit of Squid, having an Ophiuchus moon, that would make the most sense to me, and that's the one I would bet on for sure with him. And yeah, okay, so we're gonna get to the man himself. Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna get to the man himself. And there's a picture of all three of them right there. So the man himself, Steven Spielberg. Now, you know what? I easily the greatest director in Hollywood history, would you think? Yes, I'm going to say yes to that. I'm going to say yes to Steven Spielberg, the greatest director in Hollywood history. Um, Steven Spielberg, he is born on day of the narwhal in Primal Astrology. So Steven Spielberg is spirit of the narwhal. Other famous people who are spirit of the narwhal, there's a lot of them. Let's see, Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck is he's Day of the Narwhal. Jesse Eisenberg, he's another one, another huge famous actor. But Spielberg, he's the only director in terms of movie directors that I know who's Spirit of the Narwhal. There is a lot of famous narwhals out there, and Steven Spielberg. I mean, if you had to rank biggest one, I mean, I think it has to easily be him, for sure. And I want to thank Mr. Spielberg. I want to thank him greatly for all he's done. And this project of his, I do read a lot that this project of his was a toughie. It was a tough one. He always I see a lot of articles about, him mentioning that this movie was not anything but easy to make for him. And so that's definitely a factor, apparently. The movie Jaws was not an easy movie to make. And so yeah, and he mentioned about that a lot. So, and I want to thank him greatly for having done it. And yeah, so I mentioned here the narwhal, as we know, is a sea creature. So is that ironic that the sea cre that makes sense. A big connection to the ocean, right? Maybe that is a coincidence. It could be, but I do think that if somebody has a spirit animal of an animal that lives in the ocean, that somebody, a man or woman, could have a big connection to the ocean some way, somehow in their real life. So, yeah, narwhals probably live with great white sharks as well, right? And so that would make some sense. And yeah, that's another thing. So I mentioned that there because it's ironic, and the narwhal is a sea creature, and yeah, yeah, making a film at sea in the ocean, and that's pretty. Yeah, that makes perfect sense, right? And probably not a coincidence. Now, so speaking of the great white shark, the Carcharodon carcharias. So yeah, I'll mention that the robot or the shark, the animatronic, the animatronic shark that they used in the movie, they actually had a name for it, and the name was Bruce. They named him Bruce. So, and that's another interesting fact about the movie. There's all kinds of interesting facts that you could read about how the movie was made and so on and so on. Now, so I'm gonna add a little bonus here, okay? Because so I'm gonna mention there are as I've mentioned a lot of times before, there are 144 different spirit animals in the primal astrology. There is a great white shark. There's actually a couple of shark. There's a hammerhead shark. So some people are spirit of the hammerhead shark and some are the great white shark. And I think those are the only two shark species that are among the spirit animals, believe it or not. So there are two sharks that I know of, the hammerhead and the great white. So let's, so I'm going to scroll down. And again, a huge thank you to Mr. Spielberg for having done this. And I wanted to mention my all-time favorite movie. Um, I would say that Jurassic Park is my all-time favorite at number one. Jaws is easily I'm gonna have to put in my top five. Jurassic Park, which was also done by Spielberg and written by Michael Crichton, is I would say is at my number one, which is also done by Spielberg. And again, I thank Mr. Spielberg for all that he's done, not just those movies, but every and Schindler's List among his best easily, in Close Encounters of the Third Kind. The list goes on. And so thanks again to Mr. Spielberg for having done this very tough project, which changed the world, definitely changed the world easily. This movie. Yeah. So let's get to the conclusion here. And you could read this now, and I'm definitely going to leave the link below for you guys to read on the spirit of the great white shark and what their characteristics and what they're like. And here you go. Which famous people are spirit of the great white shark in primal astrology? As I mentioned, there are 144 different spirit animals in the primal astrology zodiac. There is a great white shark, and that is somebody who is born on day of the horse in Vietnamese astrology and or Vietnamese or Chinese astrology, day of the horse, and they have a Gemini moon. So the Gemini combined with the horse, that combination is spirit of the great white shark in primal astrology. So there you have it. So these are the famous people who were born on day of the great white shark. Again, they have a Gemini moon and their day of the horse. And Jonah Hill, actor and comedian Jonah Hill, and Conor McGregor, he's of the UFC, the Ultimate Fighter Championship, just like John Jones, who, so Conor McGregor. And down here we have also born day of the great white shark in primal astrology is Sandra Oh, Canadian actress and comedian. Okay, so Sandra Oh is a Canadian actress and comedian. And she's another one to name a few. And lastly, I mention here James Harden of the NBA basketball superstar. He's a superstar and he currently plays for the Los Angeles Clippers, James Harden, okay? In the NBA, in the National Basketball Association. He too is born day of the great white shark. He's spirit of the great white shark. Yeah. So they are, to name a few, okay? So these are famous people that I wanted to mention who are, in case you were wondering, because there is a great white shark spirit animal in Primal Astrology. And here's some examples of people who are that. Yeah, Spirit of the Great White Shark. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, I can't thank you again. Thanks again for all your support, guys. And here's to the next 50 years of one of the greatest movies of all time. Uh, Quite possibly the greatest monster movie of all time, made by Steven Spielberg and Peter Benchley, of course. And yeah, so thanks again, guys. Until next time, and keep sending your questions to me, scorpiooxman@gmail.com. scorpiooxman@gmail.com. I answer your questions for free. Till next time, guys. And here's to a great summer as well. Wishing you a great summer, which is beginning now. So thanks again. All the best. God bless. Thank you. Lots of love.